Friends, we can all see that many white bloggers have millions of followers. Please support me too, because my followers are still few. Black bloggers also deserve to be famous. My friends, let's unite and lift each other up. Please press subscribe button and like. In the heart of a pristine Florida neighborhood, where palm trees swayed gently and manicured lawns gleamed in the sun, a storm was brewing. Chuck Morgan, a retired Navy SEAL, had always thought that the biggest battles were fought overseas. But on this seemingly ordinary Tuesday morning, he was about to discover that the real fight was right at his doorstep. Chuck watched in the kitchen window as his wife, Julia, knelt by their Tula bed, her white shirt stained with dirt from her morning gardening. She was the epitome of grace and strength, a school teacher who had dedicated her life to nurturing young minds. But today, her peaceful morning was shattered by a bright yellow violation notice plastered on their fence, a bureaucratic scarlet letter from the Homeowners Association, HOA. Fence height violation. Compliance required within 72 hours or face escalated enforcement. Julia read aloud, her voice tinged with disbelief. Chuck's blood boiled. He had survived 3 combat deployments only to be confronted by HOA tyrants who measured fence heights with rulers as Julia began recording the absurdity on her iPhone. 2 men approached, clad in tactical vests that screamed Halloween costume. They swaggered across the lawn, exuding an air of authority that was as misplaced as their badges. Chuck's instincts kicked in. He assessed the threat level, calculated his response options, and prepared to protect the woman he loved. "Ma'am, stop recording enforcement action immediately," one of them barked, his voice a poor imitation of a drill sergeant. Chuck's heart raced as he stepped outside, the air thick with tension. The men's confidence faltered as they realized they were no longer in control. "Stand down. You just assaulted my wife," Chuck said, his voice calm but laced with danger. The tall one, Vince, charged at him, but Chuck sidestepped effortlessly, his military training kicking in. The man stumbled, crashing into the steps, while his partner, Tony, swung wildly, missing his mark entirely. In a matter of seconds, the situation escalated. Chuck's instincts took over, and he swiftly incapacitated both men, leaving them writhing on the lawn. The sound of sirens echoed in the distance as Chuck called 911, his heart still racing from the adrenaline. As the neighborhood began to stir, Chuck noticed something glinting in the grass. Vince's phone. A text message lit up the screen. "Boss lady, use force if needed." The timestamp revealed it had been sent just minutes before the assault. Chuck's mind raced. Who was this boss lady, and what else had she planned? The investigation began immediately. With Julia's bruised cheek as motivation, Chuck and their neighbor, Ray Delgado, a retired cop, dug into the community compliance group, the organization behind the attack. Their findings were shocking. Jennifer Allen, the HOA president, had been using her position to manipulate and intimidate residents, leveraging their fears for her gain as they gathered evidence. Chuck learned that Jennifer had a history of targeting military families, using her power to control and exploit their vulnerabilities. The more they uncovered, the more determined Chuck became to protect his family and the community. Meanwhile, the neighborhood was buzzing with rumors. Agnes, their elderly neighbor, had been spying for Jennifer, but after a heartfelt conversation with Julia, she decided to switch sides. Armed with evidence of Jennifer's manipulations, they prepared for a showdown at the next HOA meeting. The atmosphere was electric as residents gathered, fueled by anger and a desire for justice. Chuck took the podium, presenting the evidence like a military briefing. Julia's assault video played on the big screen, eliciting gasps from the crowd. Agnes' meticulous documentation revealed Jennifer's systematic targeting of neighbors, and Greg's recorded confession exposed her true nature. As the room erupted in outrage, Jennifer's facade crumbled. She attempted to regain control, but the tide had turned. The community voted overwhelmingly to remove her from power, but as she was escorted out, she delivered a chilling warning. "You have no idea what's coming," she hissed, her eyes wild with desperation. "Phase 3 is activated." Chuck's heart sank. What did that mean? As the community celebrated their victory, a text message arrived on his phone, sending chills down his spine. "Your wife teaches at Sunset Elementary. Kids are so vulnerable at 3:15 dismissal." The threat was real, and it was personal. Chuck and Ray sprang into action, coordinating with local authorities to ensure the safety of the school. They knew Jennifer had crossed a line, and her next move could be catastrophic. The courthouse was packed for the trial, the air thick with tension. Chuck and Julia stood united, ready to face the woman who had tried to destroy their lives. As evidence was presented, the truth about Jennifer's manipulations came to light. The judge's expression shifted from skepticism to shock as the severity of Jennifer's actions became clear. When the verdict was delivered, Chuck felt a wave of relief wash over him. Jennifer was found guilty of harassment, intimidation, and making terroristic threats. As she was led away, Chuck knew that the battle was far from over. But just as they thought they could breathe a sigh of relief, another text message buzzed on Chuck's phone. This one was from an unknown number, and it sent a chill down his spine. You think you've won? Phase 3 is just beginning. I have eyes everywhere. Chuck's heart raced as he exchanged worried glances with Julia. They had underestimated Jennifer's resolve, and now it seemed she was prepared to escalate her campaign of terror. The community had rallied against her, but what would she do in retaliation? As they left the courthouse, Chuck felt a sense of urgency. They needed to act quickly, not just for their safety, but for the safety of their entire neighborhood. The stakes had never been higher, and the shadow of Jennifer's threats loomed larger than ever. Let's gather everyone tonight, Chuck said, determination in his voice. We need to come together and figure out our next steps. We can't let her intimidate us any longer. Julia nodded, her eyes fierce with resolve. We'll protect our community, Chuck. We'll show her that we're stronger together. As they drove home, the weight of the situation pressed heavily on their shoulders. They were no longer just fighting for their own safety. They were fighting for the entire neighborhood. And as they prepared for the battle ahead, they knew that the real fight was just beginning. But what would Jennifer's Phase 3 entail? And how far was she willing to go to reclaim her power? The answers were lurking in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered. Do you want to know the fate of the heroes? Please post part 2. Subscribe to the channel and continue watching. Your opinion and support are important to me. Leave it in the comments. Thank you.